In 2017, Mossberg shipped a 12-gauge firearm with a 14-inch barrel and no stock at a gun stores across America. It was not an NFA item. It did not require a tax stamp. It was perfectly legal in most states, and the ATF signed off on it. The firearms industry lost its mind. Not because the gun was dangerous, but because the gun was possible. That firearm was the Shockwave, and it exploited a gap in federal law that nobody had commercialized before. A shotgun, by legal definition, is a weapon designed or redesigned to be fired from the shoulder. If a firearm never had a stock, was never designed to be fired from the shoulder, and maintained an overall length above 26 inches, it was not a shotgun. It was not a pistol. It was not any other weapon. It was just a firearm. No stamp, no waiting. Walk in, pass a background check, walk out. 9 years later, that loophole has produced an entire category of compact 12-gauge and .410 firearms that did not exist before. Some of them are genuine defensive tools. Some of them are range toys that will break your wrist and teach you nothing. And the newest one, released in 2025, might be the most important shotgun platform firearm Mossberg has built since the 500. Here are 7 compact shotguns and shotgun platform firearms ranked for home defense. From the ones that look cool but hurt to shoot, to the one that actually belongs next to your bed. Number 7. The Stevens 320 Security. This isn't glamorous, and that's the point. An 18.5-inch barrel, pump action, 5+1 capacity, ghost ring sights, and a price tag that hovers around $200. Verified April 2026. Savage Arms has been building firearms since 1894. The 320 uses a rotary bolt and dual slide bars, which makes the action smoother than any gun at this price has a right to be. It's a full-size shotgun, not a compact firearm, but it earns the number 7 spot because every gun on this list gets compared against one question. Can the person in your house who needs this gun actually operate it at 2 in the morning? The Stevens 320, with its full stock and manageable recoil, is a yes for more people than anything with a bird's head grip. $200. Proven platform. It works. That's enough for number 7. Number 6. The Kel-Tec KS7. This is the gun Kel-Tec should have made first. A single-tube bullpup pump action that holds 7 rounds of 2.75-inch shells in an overall length of 26.1 inches. It weighs 5.9 pounds. That's a stocked shotgun, shorter than a Shockwave, with 2 more rounds of capacity. The KS7 feeds and ejects from the bottom, which makes it genuinely ambidextrous. Left-handed shooters don't eat brass. The trigger is surprisingly crisp for a bullpup shotgun, short with a tactile reset. The fiber optic triangle front sight is big and fast for buckshot work. It sits at number 6 instead of higher because of 2 things. The carry handle is polarizing. Some shooters love it, some rip it off immediately. And the reload is slow. Every bullpup shotgun shares this problem because the loading port sits behind your trigger hand. Under stress, feeding shells into a KS7 is slower than feeding a Mossberg 590. In a home defense scenario where you've already got 7 rounds loaded, that's probably fine. But it's a real limitation if you ever run dry. MSRP is around $500. Street price fluctuates. The KS7 fixed the teething problems Kel-Tec had with the KSG, and independent reviewers have put hundreds of rounds through them with 0 malfunctions. It runs. Number 5. The Remington TAC 14. The TAC 14 almost ceased to exist. When Remington went through bankruptcy in 2020, the entire product line went into limbo. Under new ownership as Rem Arms, the brand has stabilized, but parts availability and customer service are still a question mark for some buyers. That uncertainty is what keeps it at number 5. The gun itself is solid. A 14-inch barrel on an 870 receiver, Raptor Bird's head grip, Magpul forend, out of the box, 4+1 capacity, and an overall length of 26.3 inches. The 870 action is one of the smoothest pump actions ever built. The TAC 14 uses a single extractor versus the Mossberg's dual setup, and Remington dimpled the magazine tube, which makes adding a capacity extension annoying. But the 870's fit and finish, when Remington gets it right, is a notch above the Mossberg. The pump feels tighter, the trigger is smoother, and the overall refinement is noticeable. The hardwood model looks better than any compact firearm has a right to. Street price sits around $400 to $450. If Rem Arms keeps their quality consistent, this gun climbs the list. If they don't, it drops off entirely. That's the gamble right now. Number 4. The Mossberg 590 Shockwave. The one that started everything. A 14.375-inch barrel on a 590 receiver, 5+1 capacity, Raptor Bird's head grip, and the ambidextrous tang safety that Mossberg does better than anyone. Overall length is 26.37 inches. Weight is 5.25 pounds. The Shockwave has the dual extractors the TAC 14 lacks. It is drilled and tapped for optics from the factory, and adding a red dot dramatically improves what you can do with this platform. The 590 receiver accepts the Opsol mini shell adapter, which bumps capacity to 9+1 with Aguila or Federal mini shells. That is a significant advantage in a firearm with no stock and no sights beyond a bead. Mossberg has produced more SKU variations of the Shockwave than any other firearm in this category. 12 gauge, 20 gauge, .410, marine finish, Cerakote, wood furniture, mag-fed, SPX, and the chainsaw. Not all of them are good ideas. The chainsaw in particular is a gimmick. But the standard 590 Shockwave, in 12 gauge with a bead sight or upgraded ghost rings, is a genuinely effective compact defensive firearm in trained hands. The key phrase is trained hands. Bird's head grip shotguns are not point-and-shoot platforms. You need to practice push-pull technique, you need proper wrist strength, and you need to understand that at distances beyond 10 yards, accuracy degrades fast without a stock. Ignoring this turns a capable firearm into a liability. Street price ranges from $450 to $500, depending on configuration. Number 3. The Henry Lever Action Axe .410. This is the ODD one on the list, and it earned its spot. A lever action .410 with a 15.14-inch barrel, axe handle pistol grip, 5-round tube magazine, and an overall length of 26.4 inches. Classified as a non-NFA firearm, same as the Shockwave. Walnut and blued steel. Henry build quality, which means it runs smooth, cycles perfectly, and looks like something from a different era. The axe weighs 5.75 pounds. That's heavier than the 12-gauge Shockwave, which seems wrong until you shoot it. The mass absorbs .410 recoil until it's nothing. Even with buckshot, this gun is comfortable to shoot all day. The lever action is butter smooth and the loading gate lets you top off without pulling the magazine tube. You'll hear people dismiss the .410 for defense. At 7 yards with 000 buckshot from a smooth bore, 5 pellets at 1,135 feet per second, hit in a fist-size pattern. That's inside the FBI's penetration standard. It's not a 12-gauge payload, but the person who can actually run this gun under stress beats the person who bought a 12-gauge Shockwave and flinches every time they pull the trigger. Street price runs between $700 and $815 depending on configuration and finish. Verified April 2026. Number 2. The Mossberg 990 Aftershock. This is the gun the compact shotgun market waited 7 years for. A semi-automatic 12-gauge firearm with a 14.75-inch barrel, gas-operated action, 5+1 capacity, and an overall length of 27.125 inches. Weight is 6 pounds even. The Aftershock uses a brand new gas system completely contained within the forend. It is not an adaptation of the 940 platform. Mossberg engineered this from scratch because the 940's gas system requires a buffer in the stock, and this gun does not have a stock. Internal parts are nickel-boron coated for corrosion resistance. The controls are borrowed from the 940 Pro, oversized bolt release, knurled charging handle, enlarged loading port with a beveled edge, and the new Gen 2 tang safety that is wider and easier to manipulate. 2 rounds of full-powered buckshot on target in under 1 second at 10 yards has been documented in independent testing. The gas system eats enough recoil that the Aftershock is genuinely controllable, something no pump-action bird's head grip 12-gauge can claim honestly. And here is the detail that matters most in 2026. The NFA tax stamp dropped to $0 in January. That means you can file a Form 1, add any 590 series stock, and turn the Aftershock into a short-barreled semi-auto shotgun with a proper shoulder stock for no additional cost beyond the stock itself. Factory semi-auto SBS options barely exist. The Aftershock with a stock is one of the most capable close-quarters firearms you can own. The 2026 SPX version adds the 940-style heat shield handguard, MLOK slots, QD sling points, ACU choke compatibility, and a direct optics cut on the receiver. MSRP starts at $1,204 for the base SPX model. That's real money. But no other firearm on this list gives you a semi-auto 12-gauge, a sub-20 8-inch overall length, gas-operated recoil reduction, and a direct path to a legal SBS with 0 tax stamp cost. Nothing else comes close. Number 1. The Mossberg 590A1 with an 18.5-inch barrel. Not compact, not a firearm, not a loophole. A shotgun, heavy-walled barrel, aluminum trigger guard instead of polymer, metal safety, parkerized finish, 6+1 or 8+1 capacity depending on the magazine tube. Ghost ring sights, bayonet lug if you want one, full stock, proper cheek weld, aimed shots with a sighting plane. The 590A1 passed MIL spec testing. It has been issued to US military units. It has been in service longer than most of the firearms on this list have existed as concepts. And at 18.5 inches with a full stock, it is shorter than you think. Overall length is 39.5 inches. That is 13 inches longer than a Shockwave, which sounds like a lot until you consider what you gain. A stock, aimed fire, manageable recoil for anyone in the household, reliable feeding with any ammunition, any shell length, any load, and the ability to actually hit what you are pointing at beyond 10 yards. The compact shotgun category exists because of a legal loophole. Some of the firearms it produced are excellent. The 990 Aftershock is a genuine innovation. But the single spec that matters more than barrel length, more than overall length, more than weight, is whether the person holding the gun can put rounds where they need to go when their hands are shaking and their heart rate is through the roof. A stocked shotgun with sights gives you that. A bird's head grip with a bead sight makes it harder. That is not an opinion, that is physics and physiology. The 590A1 sits at number 1 because when the conversation gets serious, the fundamentals win every time. Street price runs between $500 and $650 depending on configuration. Verified April 2026. 7 firearms. Every one of them real, every price current. And the number 1 pick is the one that's been winning this argument for decades. Tell me in the comments if you agree with the ranking. Tell me if the 990 Aftershock should be number 1. Tell me if the Shockwave changed your mind about compact firearms or confirmed what you already believed. I want to hear it. If this is the kind of content that earns your time, subscribe. Next week, I'm covering the 5 calibers that are actually worth stockpiling in 2026, and whether the preppers hoarding them are smart or wasting money. Click whatever's on screen. I'll see you there.